On January the 15th, 2026 AD, the people of Uganda went to the polls to elect their new members of parliament and to see whether a miracle would make Yoweri Museveni lose the election, as it has been their tradition for the past 30 years. Unsurprisingly, the miracle never came to pass, because 2 days after the election, the Ugandan Electoral Commission once again announced that Yoweri Museveni had been re-elected as president, securing his 7th term in office at the age of 81.
Candidate Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, having obtained the highest number of votes in the election, and the votes cast in his favor being more than 50% of the valid votes cast at the election, the Commission hereby declares the elected president declares candidate Yoweri Kaguta Museveni the duly elected president of the Republic of Uganda at the presidential elections held on the 15th day of January 2026 for the next 5 years.
Museveni's main opponent, Robert Kyagulanyi, popularly known as Bobi Wine, quickly rejected the results, terming them as fake, and urged his supporters to peacefully protest in the streets of Uganda.
We want to firmly call upon the people of Uganda to reject these fake results that are being read at Rugoa by Mr. Byabakama and his Electoral Commission, and we want to call upon the people of Uganda to non-violently protest and reject any effort to subvert their voice.
Bobi Wine's remarks weren't received positively by some Ugandans, especially by Museveni's son, Muhoozi Kainerugaba, who is the chief of defense forces. He went on Elon's platform to issue death threats to Bobi Wine, stating that the security forces had killed 22 of Wine's supporters and was praying that Bobi Wine will be the 23rd. For you to understand why Uganda is the way it is today, you need to go back 64 years ago, in 1962, when the country gained independence from Great Britain.
In the new Africa, one more independent country, the state of Uganda. At Entebbe Airport, Prime Minister Milton Obote and His Highness the Kabaka wait to greet the Britannia, which brings the Duke of Kent to represent the Queen at the independence celebration.
Post-independence, Uganda was a constitutional monarchy, where the Buganda king served as the ceremonial president, while Milton Obote served as prime minister. Eventually, a power struggle ensued between the two, mainly because of political rivalry that made Milton Obote to suspend the constitution, abolishing the monarchy, and declared himself as the executive president. In January 1971, while Obote was in Singapore attending the Commonwealth meeting, the Ugandan army commander, General Idi Amin, overthrew his government in a military coup.
The members of the Uganda Army and Air Force decided to take over from the civilian rule because of the last arrangement which were made by the Dr. Apollo Milton Obote to disarm the whole tribe of Uganda except his own tribe, Langi and Acholi.
The reason for the coup was that Obote had become increasingly authoritarian and had created ethnic divisions within the military, where he unfairly promoted soldiers from his own ethnic group, leaving the others oppressed. But the major reason for his ouster was that Obote was planning to have Amin arrested for the misappropriation of army funds that led to Amin launching the coup while Obote was outside the country so as he could guarantee his own survival. After Amin took over Uganda, what then followed was 8 years of even more brutal dictatorship that was marked by widespread human rights abuses, economic collapse, especially when he evicted the Asian minority community in Uganda, and political repression. Idi Amin's rule ended after he tried to invade Tanzania because of territorial disputes. The Tanzanian army, together with Ugandan exiles, launched a counter-offensive that eventually led to the capture of Kampala in April 1979, forcing Amin to flee into exile in Saudi Arabia. Amin's overthrow led to the formation of a presidential commission that would oversee Uganda transitioning into a democracy. This led to the general election of 1980. The main contenders of the election were these three men: Milton Obote, the exiled president, Paul Semogerere, a former Ugandan MP, and Yoweri Museveni, a rebel group leader who fought alongside Tanzanian forces to oust Amin. The election was characterized by a lot of irregularities. Milton Obote was eventually declared the winner by the commission, returning him back to power. Museveni claimed the elections were rigged, eventually launching an armed uprising against Obote's government, resulting into a 5-year brutal civil war.
If you have got a government which has closed off all other channels of peaceful change, what else could we do except to surrender, to resign ourselves to slavery, and we couldn't do that.
In July 1985, Obote was overthrown in a military coup by a faction of his own army. Museveni took advantage of the enemy's weakness to advance further. By January 1986, the NRA captured Kampala, forcing the Ugandan army to surrender. Museveni seized power and became president, ending the civil war.
Museveni do solemnly swear that I will well and truly exercise the functions of the high office of the President of the Republic of Uganda, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Republic of Uganda, and that I will preserve and defend the Constitution, and that I will do right to all manner of people according to the law established, without fear or favor, affection or ill will, so help me God.
Once you get this history of Uganda, you are now able to understand why Uganda will never be a democracy. See, with its history of coups, civil wars, and political instability, Museveni came into power with the vision of a strong man, one who will maintain and consolidate power, at the same time ensuring that the country does not plunge into another civil war. And to be fair, he has been successful in preventing another civil war, especially when he defeated the Lord's Resistance Army in 2006, a rebel group that emerged from the political and ethnic turmoil that followed Obote's overthrow and were primarily fighting against the government of Museveni. What Museveni has never been interested in is making Uganda democratic, because as a military politician, he got that power by the sword, not by the vote. And we have seen that through the sham elections that the country has been conducting since 1996, where Museveni has unapologetically won all the elections by intimidating and coercing his civilian political rivals, the likes of Kizza Besigye and Bobi Wine. If Ugandans really want to be democratic, they must first count the cost, and a good example is Sudan. Similar history of coups and political instability, and then a strong man comes in, Omar al-Bashir, who brings relative stability until the people get fed up and lead an uprising wanting democracy. Then two powerful generals in the armed forces take advantage of the uprising. They overthrow al-Bashir, and then a power struggle ensues between the two, plunging the nation into a bloody civil war. Currently speaking, Sudan has the largest and most severe humanitarian crisis in the world. The only way Uganda can be democratic is if Museveni decides to really fully give up power through a free and fair election. Well, he hasn't done that for the past 40 years, so that's impossible. And even after Museveni dies, his son will likely take over, and this dude will be even worse. So Ugandans in denial must accept that they will be under the Museveni dynasty till the Lord comes back.